Hello everyone, back to today's second video. We're doing a CFS 6 months look ahead for today's second video. As the name implies on the tin, we're going to go 6 months ahead with a long-range CFS V2 model. And this is going to take us from next month, it's going to take us from July through to December, through to the final month of the year. Now, obviously, this is just for fun. It's just a bit of a heads up of what the model is showing. But don't, please, whatever you do, take it too seriously. It's just a little bit of a heads up about what model is showing this month. It's a snapshot, if you like, but it could all look very, very different when we come back next month and have next month's CFS 6 months look ahead. That said, we will go through the 500 millibar height anomaly charts for the next 6 months, and then have a look at corresponding temperature and precipitation anomalies that go with those heights. Just to say that earlier today we released the weekend forecast, so you can find me into that here on the homepage. Just scroll down a little bit underneath the link ads. There's also a written version. You get to that via buttons at the top of the page, and very shortly I'll be issuing the 5th Glasgow update, 5th update for Glastonbury, and I'll be suited and booted for that one as well, because I'm actually at a wedding while you're watching this, so I'll be popping back home just to record that very quickly, and you'll be able to see me in all of my finest suit, tie, and all of that kind of thing for the 5th Glasgow update. Right, let's get on with CFS 6 months look ahead then, and we're going to start off with the 500 millibar heights for the next month, and then we'll have a look at temperature and precipitation anomalies that go with those heights. So we're beginning with next month, with July 2017. And in theory, if the model is working correctly, then this should be, no guarantee, but it should be the most reliable part of this whole thing, really, because it's only 1 month away. So, excuse me, the brighter colours are extrapolating to high pressure, and the blue colours there are extrapolating to low pressure. So for the coming month, for next month, we've got an area of above average heights to our south. We've got below average heights up to the north. We're probably sending the jet stream on a little bit of a northerly track there. I think it's just a little bit to the north of the country. Northern parts could have a fairly changeable July with that sort of pattern. Southern areas are likely to be drier and warmer, close to that area of above average heights. We move through to August, and this looks really good. It looks like we end the summer on a really good note. August showing a big area of above average height sitting right over top of the country. The jet stream is being shunted further north, certainly further north compared to what we see in July. So that should just be a warm, dry, very pleasant final month of the summer of 2017. I think overall this would turn out to be quite a decent summer when you take into account what we've had in June as well. Then we go through to September, and of course we're 3 months out now, so reliability obviously is beginning to decline quite substantially. September shows quite an unsettled pattern actually, below average heights and quite a deep area of below average heights to the northwest around Greenland and Iceland. There is an area of above average heights in the middle of the Atlantic, but it's a long way away from us. I think we're moving the jet stream in, so that does imply quite an unsettled September if that comes off, which is fairly unusual because September tends to be one of the drier months that we get through the year. But that looks like quite an unsettled Atlantic-driven type pattern for September. We go to 4 months out through to October, and again it's looking quite changeable. So if this is right, after a fairly dry spell, it looks like things do turn more unsettled into the autumn. That's what the CFS is hinting at there, I think, for the autumn of 2017. The jet stream is coming through the country rather like that as well, so it does look fairly changeable there for both September and for October as well. November, and of course now we're 5 months away, so this is just in the realm of being just for fun now. November, December is just really a bit of a laugh to see what model is showing. But this month, November, is shaping up to be quite unsettled. Above average heights to our south through the Azores into southwestern parts of Europe. Below average heights up to our north. And the jet stream coming through like that. If you know how to read these charts, then that's going to be a fairly mild Atlantic-driven signal for November. And then finally, we get through to December. We get through to the final month of the year. 6 months away, just for fun. But this is how the CFS is seeing the first month of the winter of 2017-2018. Wants to have a big area of above average heights across France, down towards Spain and Portugal, below average heights out to northwest, and that means that the jet stream does something like that. It places us on the warm side of the jet, and we'd be dragging up the air from southern Europe or from the Azores. So this is yet another really mild December if the model is correct. Now, don't worry, if you want colder weather in winter, don't be alarmed by that at all. It's 6 months away, so there'll be a lot of chopping and changing from the CFS B2 before we get anywhere close to December. Okay, let's have a look at the temperature and precipitation anomalies that go with those heights. We're going to come back to July, which of course in all of this should be the most reliable part of the whole thing. So for July, not really that much of a temperature signal, to be honest. It's looking close to average across the UK, and if anything, you'd probably say that Northern Europe is a little bit on the cooler side, perhaps Southern or even southwestern Europe maybe on the warmer side, but the temperatures are not deviating all that far from average through most parts of Europe for July. And given the pattern, which shows sort of low pressure up here and then high pressure down there, going through there, given the pattern, I think that's perhaps a little bit disappointing from a temperature perspective. There is an idea out there, I know a lot of people have the idea that CFS is biased on the warmer side, but given the height anomaly that the model was showing for July, I think the temperatures are actually a little bit on the cooler side. I would expect that to be a slightly warmer month, especially so for England and Wales, compared to what the model is doing. So the model may be a little bit on the colder side of what I would expect from a pattern anyway in July. Go through to August, and this one is placed in the area of high pressure close to the UK, of course, and we're doing something a bit like that with jet stream. So you see all the cold air, or the cool air, is down into the eastern, southeastern part of Europe. Of course, for Greece and Turkey, that's still going to be very hot in August, but it's cooler than average with the anomalies in the east. The west, the west of Europe is hinting to be a little bit on the warmer than average side actually there. So I think August could be a fairly warm end to the summer potentially. Through to September, and again the signal isn't all that strong really in terms of the temperature anomaly for September. Remember, this is looking at an unsettled month with low pressure up here, high pressure is out there somewhere, and the jet streams seem to be coming through. It is going a little bit warmer than average for parts of France and Germany, but overall I think September could be coming out close to average based on the pattern. October also continues that sort of idea. Average temperatures really. Central parts of Europe look a little bit warmer there. But overall, again, we don't see a particularly strong signal for temperatures up to October. However, we go through to November and look at that, getting closer to the winter, and the temperature anomaly is getting strongly more towards the positive side, and that's happening because we've got loads of high pressure through here and through here and through there, and then we've got low pressure which is up here, and the jet stream is going through rather like that, so it's dragging in the air from the central part of the Atlantic Ocean. And then that continues into December. We end the year, we get another warm September, or certainly very significantly milder than average. December, I should say, looking very significantly milder than average. Don't worry about that at this stage. It's 6 months away. just for fun. I don't think you need to get behind the sage long with that yet. If you start seeing those sort of temperature anomalies around September, when we do a CFS 6 months look ahead for December, January, February, then that will be get behind the sage long type situation. But at this stage, it's too early away, too far away, too much time away to be particularly concerned about. And then finally, have a look at the precipitation anomalies for the next 6 months. So coming back to July again, and it is looking largely on the drier than average side, actually, across much of northwestern Europe for July. So pretty pleasant month in terms of precipitation, just the temperature signal maybe a little bit below what you would expect given the pattern. August also looking drier than average. So from a precipitation side of things, these charts looking really good for the rest of the summer. Lots of dry weather coming up. Temperatures maybe still be a bit cooler than I would expect, and it just goes to show the CFS is always biased on the warmer side, because I think they're undercooking the temperatures a little bit, particularly for August, with this kind of pattern that model is seeing. So my guess is we come away with really quite a warm summer, warm and dry for both July and August is the signal there. Obviously things turn a lot more unsettled into September. You can see that generally for the west of Europe it is looking a little bit on the wetter than average side. Remember, it's an unsettled month with low pressure all going on up here, and the jet stream is probably coming through from the Atlantic as well. The actual precipitation anomaly for the UK looks just average, but I think if you consider that Iceland is wetter than average, and France is wetter than average, northern Spain is wetter than average, then obviously the jet stream is coming through, and you would expect, even for the UK, although the signal there is an average rainfall, you would expect quite an unsettled month, I think, given the pattern. October is another one as well. That's also looking quite unsettled. So those 2 months, September, October, could be significantly wetter than anything we've had for quite a long while. They might be our first significantly wetter than average months since going back to the first part of 2016, if the model is correct. And then we get to November. That's 5 months away. So again, I'll say it once more, it's just for fun. But it looks like, again, fairly unsettled signal for Northern Europe anyway in November. The only difference is that the jet stream is going a bit further north, I think, as pressure is rising a little bit to the south. The heights are rising to the south. That's sending the jet stream a bit further north. But overall, that does look like quite an unsettled autumn. Actually, all 3 autumn months being signalled to be wetter than average. And then finally, we go through to November, go through to December, I should say. And that one is looking just average with the precipitation, really. If anything, you'd probably place that more on the drier than average side, because remember, it is strongly raising heights across France and going down to Spain. That's sending the jet stream up into that sort of scenario. So we're on the mild side of the jet for December, and we are looking fairly dry but warm, I would have thought. Again, don't worry about December. If you want some winter weather, that certainly isn't worth being overly concerned about, because it's 6 months away, and last time I said, it's just for fun. So, coming back to the rest of the summer, it's a pretty good signal actually there. The temperatures weren't anything to get excited about, but for the height anomaly and the precipitation anomaly, which it does indicate, I think, quite a lot of high pressure going on, I suspect we'll have a fairly decent July and August, and that would tie in nicely with the GASWeather's summer forecast. So, pretty decent for the remainder of summer being signalled from CFS V2. Get through to autumn, and that looks more unsettled, interestingly. It would be quite a flip on what we've had through this year so far, and even going back into the second half of 2017. That would be quite a change on what we've had, with a more unsettled, wetter signal for the autumn. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. And actually, next weekend, next Sunday, I'll be doing the first seasonal model roundup for the autumn of 2017. So we'll see whether there's any backup for the CFS idea to have an unsettled autumn from some of the other longer range models. I'm going to go off and give my throat a little bit of a drink. It's dried out doing this video. Sorry about that. And just say, don't forget to check out Weekend Forecast if you've not yet done so. And of course, that Glastonbury update will be with you very, very shortly. Right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.